Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt. On the radio, on Podcasts Live, on Facebook Live, on YouTube, on talklawradio.com. Also, 9:30 a.m. The Answer and 6:30 a.m. The Word here in San Antonio at 11 o'clock in the morning on Saturdays and 4:30 in the afternoon on Sundays on 9:30 a.m. Also in Houston on KNTH 1070 a.m. and 103.3 FM. Today we're going to be talking about Pilates, homeschool, coaching kids, and legacy with Christian Mueller, owner of Club Pilates here in San Antonio. But first, let's check in for the financial focus with Steve Warren with Financial Planning HQ. He and his sons are true financial planners. They don't sell investments or insurance. They provide a planning service that helps financially successful people reach their financial goals with less time and stress, so they can do what they really want to do without having to deal with money managers and CPAs who refuse to communicate with one another. So in addition to legal blind spots, I'd like to highlight a financial blind spot. So Steve, welcome back to the show.
Super fantastic. I'm glad to be back.
Last week we ended with a question our audience could ask their financial advisor.
Sure.
Which areas of my financial plan are currently on track? What does on track mean?
Well, first of all, I would say that I would bet that a lot of your audience probably doesn't have a financial plan, because the surveys kind of show that most people don't have a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. But what does on track mean? Well, for our clients, it means that your financial behavior and the progress that you made align with your specific milestones, the goals that you have that require money and planning to achieve, and by when you want to achieve those goals. And those are all things that you've expressed to us, so they're on a written document. And a typical ideal client has 25 objectives. 25 objectives in the 5 disciplines. That would be the tax, the legal, every type of insurance that exists, wealth planning, and financial planning. So when we send out a questionnaire, clients tell us what their objectives are. Like for taxes, it could be we want to pay less in taxes. And so if a client is off track, then we'll take steps to make sure they get on track. So we'll prescribe specific strategies that they need to undertake, even if they get off course just by 1 degree. And then what we do is we monitor the progress that they're making to get back on track. So we hold them accountable to do what they need to do, just like a fitness coach might hold their student accountable to get that extra 10 reps in or whatever,
Right.
whatever it might be. So an example of that might be like, I'm thinking of a client that's going to retire in June of this year. And so her goal was, she actually used the words financial independence, not retirement. And her goal was to retire at the end of June with $172,000 in net spendable income. And so she's currently on track to do that. Everything looks good. She's just going to stay on till she gets her final bonus, and then she's going to leave. So that's an easy example because she is on track. But you know, that's something that I think a lot of people in your audience maybe are not held to account for, you know, to do the things that they need to do, because sometimes, Todd, advisors tend to be politically correct,
Right.
instead of the unvarnished truth, you know, or say this is what you need to do in order to accomplish that goal.
Yeah. So if we ask our audience to rate their financial advisor on a scale from 1 to 10, and 1 being an absolute disaster and 10 being a role model for the planet, how would you rate your financial advisor? And what if they only rated them a 6 or a 7?
most people do rate their financial house a 6 or a 7. So if I ask a question like, how would you rate your financial house, with 1 being a disaster and 10 being a role model for the planet, most people say a 6 or a 7. So I would say that if your audience, if everyone out there feels that they are a 7 or even an 8, and they'd like to be a 10, at the very least, give us a call. You can give me a call, Steve Warren, at 210-685-2722. And we can schedule an initial meeting, which we call a financial roadmap meeting.
So you think that you can get them to rate you out of 10? Do your clients rate you out of 10?
You know, when I ask that question, because I do like to get feedback from our clients, they always get to like a 9 because they don't want me to think that there isn't room for improvement.
Okay.
So
that's fair.
Yeah. I guess they don't want us to slouch.
So what outcomes can a client expect from working with your team?
Well, they can expect to, the biggest outcome is that they can expect to, get their entire financial house in perfect order. I mean, that's the outcome. It takes time to get there. It typically takes about 12 to 15 months, with us doing a lot of heavy lifting in the first year. And then once we get there, then we've got to keep them there because, things change. Everything changes. Clients love predictability, so they don't like to have tax surprises. They don't want to miss financial deadlines. They don't want to, miss financial opportunities and, just miss opportunities that they could really benefit from.
Mm-hmm.
And so clients like to have predictability. And so we've got a good rhythm of communication where all of the client's subject matter experts, they're all coordinated. So their CPA, their attorney, their financial planner, wealth management, all that is coordinated. Everything's on the same page because, as I mentioned earlier, the objectives and what we call a live action plan, by the way, the things that they need to do in order to achieve their goals, all of their subject matter experts have that information. So they know, and everybody is on the same page. Whereas most people tend to work with their advisors in a vacuum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they'll work with you, they'll work with their CPA, and nobody has stepped up to coordinate all of those subject matter experts.
Right.
So the main outcome is predictability, no surprises, and just the peace of mind of just knowing that you're on track.
You ever meet with anybody that had unrealistic expectations? I want to retire in 10 years, but they don't have enough money to do that.
Yeah, I've run into that before, and run into, performance issues, expectations that we perform at a certain level for just one discipline, just wealth management. So the answer to that is yes, but that doesn't happen too often.
Mm-hmm.
And the analogy that I had thought about, your audience probably remembers, if they're old enough, the story of the 3 little pigs, where the first 2 little pigs, they built their houses made of straw and sticks and straws, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other third little pig built his house made out of bricks, which took significantly more work, more effort in order to get that done. Mm-hmm. So when the big bad wolf came by and blew the houses of sticks and straws down, the other third little pig was solid. Mm-hmm. So his house was absolutely solid and nothing could bring it down, maybe not even a hurricane. So, the point is that the outcome that you can expect from working with us is to get your entire financial house in perfect order. And
what should our audience know about the first meeting with you?
The first meeting with us typically takes about an hour and 10 minutes. And in that meeting, I facilitate an experience where we determine, let's just say it's husband and wife. So we determine the things that are important to each of them. In essence, they're creating a shared vision. The why part is what we're addressing. Goals that require money and planning to achieve, and then a perspective of where they're at currently. So that all gets put on a document. So this is an example of a financial roadmap. And to some degree, it serves as a foundation for building a plan. And a lot that's on here is, well, the things that are important to everybody are like values. Those are unique. So, Christian would have unique values. You have unique values. They're as unique as fingerprints. Mm-hmm. And so that all gets put on the financial roadmap. And if we're a good fit to work together, I'll make an offer. And if we're not, then you'll leave with value because now you've got everything in perspective and you can use it with your other financial advisors.
Great.
So the time hasn't been wasted, even if we don't, if we decide not to work together.
Yeah. They've learned something. They have something they can use.
Yeah.
Do you charge for that first meeting?
The initial consultation is complimentary to your audience. And then if we decide to work together, then we charge a flat fee. And we don't sell products. We don't sell financial products. For our planning clients, we don't charge them a percentage of assets under management, which I think almost all of our industries sort of like that.
Yeah,
right?
and you've talked about that before. And if you're interested in learning about what Steve thinks about charging people for assets under management, search our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and click the magnifying glass, search for Talk Law Radio, Assets Under Management. Thank you for joining us today.
Sure. And if anybody in your audience would like to contact me, I'm Steve Warren, and my number is 210-685-2722. That's 210-685-2722.
All right, let's take a break.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Most families don't realize they have hidden legal blind spots until it's too late. Wills, trusts, Medicaid planning, even protecting a business. These are the kinds of issues attorney Todd Marquardt helps uncover before they become problems. Todd is the host of Talk Law Radio, where each week he guides listeners through the legal challenges families, veterans, and business owners face, while showing them the practical steps to protect what matters most. Catch Talk Law Radio, Saturdays at 11 a.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, 6:30 a.m. The Word, and now in Houston on AM 1070 and 103.3 FM The Answer, or anytime on YouTube. Planning isn't just about documents. It's about peace of mind, security for loved ones, and building a legacy that lasts. Don't wait for a crisis. Do it before you die.